Hello, everybody. How is everybody's Saturday going? UK is cold as ever. I have no idea why it's still so cold. It's April here and it's still so cold. I went outside, got some oat latte, and I want to know how's your Saturday going? Leave some comments below. Let me know where you are in the world, what you're up to. And today I thought it might be quite good to just have a little sit down and get you to get to know me, right? At the moment, my PR manager is working very hard to pitch me to a lot of different channels, and one of them was the Authority magazine, and they're doing a segment called "Why We Need More Women Entrepreneurs," and I thought that's super cool. And she's pitched me to them, and there's a few questions that I think might be quite nice for us to get to know one another. All right, and then you can tell me more a bit about yourself and what got you started as a woman founder, as a woman CEO, and I can tell you how I got started as a woman founder and as a woman CEO. All right. So the first question that the Authority magazine people asked me are, can you share can you tell us a little bit about your backstory and what led you to this particular path? Okay, so I love this. So I'm just going to add this to the banner. So what I started my business as a podcast manager, right? I was an OG in podcasting, and I actually started as a podcasting VA. And then I realized that my talents were, I worked in tech, I was in big corporations, I was a project manager in tech, I was a user experience consultant and researcher. And I was doing the podcast management as a side hustle, right? And I've quickly realized that a lot of my clients actually wanted me to do more strategy with them and manage their businesses. And very quickly, I became an online business manager, a director of operations, and I've now scaled a team so that we are now a digital agency that offers so many more services. Now, it's been such a pleasure because I've finally found my passion. When I was still at university, I studied anthropology at Durham, and it's a top 100 university. And I honestly thought I was going to go down and do a master's and possibly do an MBA because I've always loved working with people and I've always loved businesses, right? I've always had a passion for business, even though I did a completely non-business, non-finance degree. I love studying economics in high school. And so I decided to pursue anthropology because I was always into traveling and I was always into psychology and people, and I've always found it fascinating. So what I've realized now in my job is that everything's about people, and all of the skills, the interpersonal skills, psychology, adapting to different cultures, it has proven to be super useful as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. And that is how I've used my academia. fun fact, I actually did my thesis on digital communities. That was my bachelor's thesis. And so I was always passionate about business and other cultures. And I was super passionate about women in business because before university, I actually worked in an NGO, right? In a social enterprise in Zimbabwe, right? And I've always been, and ever since that trip, it's really changed my life. And I didn't really know, I was about 18, 19 at the time. And I saw how microloans enabled widowed women, because their partners have died of HIV or AIDS. The widowed women were taught business, like very basic business skills. They were given loans by this NGO that I was working for. And they learned like basic business skills. What I mean is like really, really basic accountancy, how to balance the books, how to do bookkeeping, how to make a profit, all of that. They were given these microloans, and then they actually got the opportunity to build their own businesses. And I remember this woman, she was called Grace, and she was widowed. And through this microloan scheme that the social enterprise that I was part of, that I was working for in Zimbabwe, she was able to bring all of her children to school. She was able to bring, as a single mother, food on the table. And it was just amazing. And she was not even literate. She didn't go to school, but she because she learned the basic skills of business and she got like a startup loan, she was able to turn the whole family's life around. And that has always stuck with me. And that's why for me, it's so important to support women founders, because they don't just help themselves as CEOs, they actually bring they uplift everyone else, their children, the rest of the family. It's amazing. I have always been, ever since that gap year, that trip into before university, Zimbabwe, I have always been passionate about women entrepreneurs. Now, back in university, like I said, I went to a very prestigious elite university in England. It's a top 100 university. And I did anthropology, non-business, non-mathematical, very, social science. And I was like the eager beaver, and I would intern everywhere. I interned in big tech companies. I interned in financial services companies. I interned in startups. I did all the things. I was hustling. Like, all my friends were partying. Not that I didn't party. I partied as well. But all my friends were partying. They were focused on just fun, fun, fun. But I knew that I wanted to learn everything that I can about business, how to make money, how to support myself financially. I was such a hustler since the day I was born, I swear to God. And I remembered all my friends were like, why are you doing so many internships? But I used to earn a lot of money from these internships, right? Because they were paid. And I learned so much about business, right, in the real world, that I knew no business student at university would get. So that has been those internships, how to run diverse teams, how to manage teams, why corporate life was not for me. I learned that so quickly on from doing all of these internships in this like big corporations, Fortune 100, Fortune 500, as well as small startups, right? So that made me really love being a woman in business, right? Meeting other women. And I also realized that there's not a lot of women in business. And it's so sad. But I was part of the society in school called Women in Business. And that encouraged me to really seek out all the organizations, all the companies, all the initiatives that encourages women to help other women. Going back to the online business world, now that I was a project manager in a design agency and I was a user researcher, I quickly realized that it was not for me. Corporate life was not for me. I have always dreamt to travel, to build a remote team. That has always been my dream. So when COVID happened, I had a side hustle going on and it just kind of exploded. And I realized that, you know what? I am unhappy at my existing corporate job. And my boss actually made me choose between my corporate job and going into my business. And obviously, I chose my business. So for all of you people who are scared of leaving their 9 to 5, I have been there. I completely understand where you are coming from. But like I always preach, feel the fear and do it anyway. Okay. And have not looked back since. I have exploded my business. I have now got an agency. I now have lovely people working for me. And I get to work with clients that I want on projects that I want. And it's been such a blessing. And I have made sure that everyone that I've hired in my agency are all women. And that always has been a dream of mine to have a woman-led team, a woman-led company. And I work with a lot of strong women, amazing visionaries, supporting them with running their business with ease, marketing their business, doing the copywriting for them, helping them manage their teams, helping them manage their projects, helping them know their key performance indicators, being their COO, being their right hand, seeing how we can grow their business and break their revenue ceilings. It has been truly a blessing, right? So that's kind of like my quick backstory of why I have always been passionate about helping women founders. And going back to that Zimbabwe story, going back to that woman called Grace, it is because women founders, they elevate everyone, not just themselves, everyone. They give their children an education. They help their family members. They help everybody. So that's why for me, for women, supporting women founders have always been a dream. And now that I can do that full time with my own woman-led company, it has been such one of the greatest joy so far in my life. Okay, so that's kind of the first interview question that Authority Magazine wants from me. The other thing that they asked is, can you share the most interesting story that happened to you since you began your career or my business? Honestly, everything has been such a journey, and it's not that this is funny, but what's interesting is the online business world, right? You think that it would be a huge thing because it's international, it crosses borders, it's everyone in the world. But honestly, online the online business world is so small. It's so small. Someone who was an intern in my company suddenly became an associate because she was working for one of my clients. Isn't that crazy? She was an intern that I was managing, and all of a sudden we were colleagues in one company, right? Or the someone that was a podcast guest on my show, How She Owns It, suddenly became a client because another client of mine in a Facebook group tagged me in a post after this podcast guest was looking for someone to be a PR manager for her. And it was crazy. It's like, this, how is this happening? It's so small. Everyone knows each other. So I always tell everyone, please, please, please be kind to whoever you come across in the online business world, because you don't know who knows anyone, right? Everyone knows everyone. They're connected in somehow. And if you do good, you get good, right? So that has been a really interesting. Those are like definitely the interesting stories where I cross paths with the same people, or the same people are linked to me from my earlier clients or earlier guests of the podcast. So that has been interesting. The other one is, can you share a story about the funniest mistake you made when you were first starting? Can you tell us what lesson you learned from that? So most mistakes are not funny. Okay, most mistakes are not funny. Most mistakes are like either really embarrassing or really cringy, or like mistakes that make you want to cry. But I remember I used to be very I think for me the funniest mistake was possibly, I can't even think of anything funny. It's just been a lot of like horrified or embarrassing mistakes. But I think one of the funniest mistakes would be just emailing someone with the wrong name. I think we've all done that. Thankfully, I have not been called out, and I've quickly managed to undo it. Thank you, Gmail. But that's not really funny. But yeah, that's a mistake that has happened early on in my career when when I was sending out a lot of applications or pitching and doing proposals and sending out the wrong proposals. That's happened as well, maybe once. So it's not really funny, but that's the only mistake I can remember. Okay. None of us are able to achieve success without some help along the way. Is there a particular person who you are grateful towards who helped get you where you are? Can you share a story about that? Honestly, for me, I achieved success, and if there's a particular person that I'm grateful for, it's honestly um, like my mother and my father, who they did all the things right. They really sacrificed. They left our home country, brought us to the UK to give me this amazing life, to give me a British passport, to have a British education. They've really instilled a hard work ethic, and honestly, they are my why, and it's the reason that I am always consistent with how hard I work, and I always try. I never give up. Most people will call me tenacious. It's because I know that I'm building a legacy that my parents have started when they left their homeland, when we left our homeland. And I know that they have done endless sacrifices to get me and my siblings here. So honestly, my parents are definitely the ones who I will attribute all of my success to. Okay, the other one is there a particular book that made a significant impact on you? Can you share a story, explain why it resonated with you so much? Okay, Authority Magazine. The book is Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist. And it's so cliche. I know a lot of people talk about The Alchemist, but it's one of those books where I love it. I will reread that book over and over and over again. And I think it really allowed me to just be brave and go for it, which is not easy for me because I'm the kind of person that I think and I plan a lot. So after reading The Alchemist, it made me realize follow your dream, and the universe will, once you get into your flow and what you really follow your passion, the universe will help you, right? I love it. So I love that book. That has been really impactful, more than any other business books. And there's been a ton of really great business books as well. But The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, amazing book. Okay, do you have a favorite life lesson quote? Do you have a story about how that was relevant in your life or your work? Okay, another cliche. My favorite quote is feel the fear and do it anyway. And that's I don't know, it's like my affirmation that I say to myself whenever I'm about to do something new in my business, or whenever I'm about to face a fear. For example, very recently I started to do lives, and I have always been very scared of doing lives. And then after I started doing it. Now I used to say, feel the fear and do it anyway. Feel like I used to just say it over and over again until I get to do the thing that I'm fearful of doing. So yeah, that's basically one way life lesson quote that for me has worked, and it's been relevant in all aspects of every single level, starting my business, leaving my corporate job, going to a different country, traveling, all of that stuff. I always say feel the fear and do it anyway. I love that quote. How have you used your success to make the world a better place? So for me, I think that I've used my success to make the world a better place by supporting other women run their business with ease when they are so time constrained. I help a lot of strong women who are moms, single moms, or have a lot of children, or are balancing still on their 9 to 5. And I've helped them really run the vision on their business and achieve the vision for their business by managing my agency helps them with online business management and all the things, to do all the things as an entrepreneur. And I myself, I help them with their strategy and make sure that we're there to support them every step of the way with the strategy and implementation so that they can achieve the vision and build a wildly successful business. So for me, that has been a true blessing of running my own business. And I think I'm gonna leave it there for part 1 of why we need more women founders and this real quick get to know me interview. And in part 2, there's a lot more all about women founders and progress. So I will get back to you for part 2 of this interview, and you can get to know me even further. See you on the next one. Maybe it'll be tomorrow, probably. See you in the next one. Have a great Saturday, everyone.